Hello everyone! Today I want to do a short video on bread storage. I get lots of questions about this and it's fairly frequent. You know, it comes up again and again over the years. People aren't quite sure what's the best way to store their bread. It's a question that comes up a lot too on the forums and sourdough bread baking, Facebook groups and things like that. It's a really frequently asked question. So I thought I'd share my little take on it and see if that's helpful. So my answer to the question, what's the best way to store your bread, is this. It depends on your climate. It really does. It depends on your environment. So I live in Brisbane in Australia and it's a subtropical climate, which means in summer it's quite humid and hot, quite hot at times, and in winter it's dry. So traditionally our dry season is our winter. Now in summer, if I stored my sourdough bread, or any bread for that matter, in a closed container, you know, something like this with a lid on it, or inside a plastic bag, it would go mouldy in no time. So in summer, my answer is I store my bread in cloth. So I might just wrap it in a tea towel. I have these little cute little Kiala flour bags that I've had for years and years and years that I've just kept and I wash. They are perfect for popping in a loaf of bread, so they're great. I got this cool bread swag from one of my lovely work colleagues as a Secret Santa present last Christmas, and it's fantastic too. I've actually got a second little bag inside here. This is just a bit of bread left. But this is just a bread bag I made out of an old tea towel as well, so I just sewed that up. And the reason why I have so many is that I put them in the wash. So probably every second loaf I'll get a fresh bag and I'll put them in the wash, and I just pop my bread in the bag. I do with my bread swag one. This is basically it's kind of like a sleeping bag for breads. It's really cute. It kind of works. It's still cloth though. It's still cotton and it's breathable. So in high humid weather, you want something breathable, and that will really prevent mold in your breads. Now, so that's for the summer, or if you've got a high humidity environment. If you live in a dry place, then you've got the opposite issue. Your bread, if you don't wrap it up, and if you're just keeping it in a piece of cloth, it will dry out and it will go rock hard quite quickly, and it'll be hard to cut and not so pleasant to eat. So in a dry environment, which for us is winter time, I am much more likely to keep my bread in a closed container or a plastic bag or anything that is sealed from the air. So I will just put our bread in here, and sometimes we might have a couple of loaves going at once. This is actually really cool because you can use this sort of a container anytime, all year round, because it's got climate control. You can put your bread in here, and if it's a dry day or dry weather, and if it fluctuates like it does here, you kind of got to watch out for it. If it's dry, you keep the lid on properly. If it's really humid, you can put the lid on like that, so the bread doesn't stay too enclosed and it can breathe a bit and it won't go mouldy. So you can actually use something like this all year round if you can leave it open when you need to. If you've got problems with bugs or animals or anybody else kind of getting into your bread and you need to keep it sealed up, but you're worried about mold, then go for the bag option, because you can wrap your loaf up in this, tuck the edges under, put your loaf on the bench, and it's pretty secure. Like, I have a cat who came from the streets and he likes to get into the bread if you leave it out. So especially during the night, if we're asleep, he might come out and check out the bread if there's some bread on the bench. But wrapping it up in this and tucking the edge under, he can't get into that, and he won't pursue that. So that works quite well. Just finally, there are these cool things like this too. This is a bag I got from the Grains Conference in Victoria last year. So that was October 2019. I had such a ball, and this bag actually came with the little pack, the registration pack that everybody got. This bag's really cool in that it's a cloth bag on the outside, but it's got like a plastic lining and it's washable. So if you really loved the bag aesthetic and you are in a dry place and you want to keep your bread sort of really well sealed up so it doesn't dry out, but you still want to use a bag, you could probably try and get something like this. I don't exactly know who made these, but you could search for something like this too. I really should mention too that if you don't eat your bread very quickly or it goes a little bit hard or a bit stale, you know, sooner than you'd like it to, you might want to consider freezing your bread. You could either cut your loaf in half and just freeze half of it. Sourdough bread thaws out beautifully and it's almost, you know, as fresh as the day you made it once you defrost it. Or you can slice up your bread, put it in a plastic bag and then freeze it, and you can just take out slices as you need them. So that's another really good option as well. So there's lots of different things you could do. And I hope that that's given you some ideas and really explained that, yeah, the answer to that question is it depends. Like many things with sourdough bread making, there's no straight answer. But once you can tune into thinking about your environment and what's going to happen in your environment, then you can find the right answer for you. I hope that helps. Thanks everyone. See you in the next video. Bye.